running for Congress. He's on our KTSA Window World Newsmaker line right now. He is one of the declared Republican candidates in U.S. House District 23. Raul Reyes joining us on KTSA. And good afternoon and welcome to the show. It's good to have you with us.
Hey, Jack. Thanks for having me. Raul Reyes, I'm here in Alpine. We're campaigning, so it's good to be on your show.
It's good to have you. I think you were the first guy in, or one of the first, because you were actually in this race back when you thought you'd be running against Will Hurd, right?
Absolutely. What I tell folks is we were campaigning when campaigning against the incumbent wasn't cool, and so we got after him early May. We declared, and we've been running ever since and making progress. I'd like to give credit to the constituents of District 23, and of course they had a catalyst, which is the Raul Reyes for Congress campaign that actually gave Will the decision to not run again. So I'll take blame or credit, whichever one you want to give me.
Okay. Well, let me ask you about it, because he would always say that the only way he could win that district was this triangulation thing he did where he voted with Republicans sometimes and Democrats sometimes, and he distanced himself from Trump, and he talked about all the things he didn't like about and didn't agree with President Trump. He said that's the only way a Republican can win in District 23. You obviously disagree.
I do. That always goes back to the, is this a Democrat or Republican district? And it's a conservative district. Most Americans are center right, and this district is certainly conservative. And so the secret sauce here is that you've got to run a candidate that's from the district, homegrown, born and raised in Del Rio. That's where I was born and raised, and with some bona fides and ready to jump in and tackle big issues. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel. I came back to the district. I lived there in Medina County and Castroville. So the trust factor is a big thing. And this is why we had an issue with the incumbent. He'd lost the trust of the base. And so dumping in another candidate from somewhere outside isn't going to cut it. The people of this district deserve somebody they can trust. That's us, and that's why we're running, and that's why we've had a lot of success.
Let's talk a little bit. We're talking with Raul Reyes, who's running for U.S. House District 23, the Will Hurd seat here on KTSA. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You were in cybersecurity, and you saw up close and personal what's going on in Central America and South America. You say what you've seen in your career tells you we need the wall yesterday.
We do. At the end of the day, if we go no wall, yes wall, you have to look at what the folks boots on the ground, while Border Patrol are requiring a wall. So if an F-16 pilot tells me he needs an F-16, then we ought to give him that airplane, right? It's the same thing with the Border Patrol. So when your incumbent says, he's not going to vote for any monies for the wall, then you're going against the experts on the ground. So a lot of the issues now with this border is we have porous borders where folks are just crossing over, and then you take the issue of the Border Patrol not having enough personnel at this time. Doesn't matter if you can spot illegal aliens crossing. If you can't get to them because you don't have the personnel, you're in trouble. And this is why, we had something like 6,000 in the first quarter of this year, 6,000 families that were not apprehended. And that's a straight report out of the Del Rio border sector by Raul Ortiz down there. So we need a wall, and we need it yesterday. The things I've seen in Central and South America, because I'm experienced, I'm a Spanish speaker, so the Air Force utilized my skills downrange. I led special general purpose forces into missions into Colombia, Central and South America, specifically that Northern Triangle. And there is a cartel drug problem that's hitting us. Everybody knows this, but it's time to do something about it.
I need a real quick answer on this one, only because I'm almost out of time, if you can. A lot of confusion coming out of both political parties about what the response should be to El Paso. Where are you on any kind of a gun control bill, background checks, et cetera, after El Paso?
Yeah, I'm not for any red flag laws. I think we've infringed on the Second Amendment right for citizens way too much already. I get it. It's a travesty. It's terrible what's happened out there, but we need to start looking at the real problems, perhaps mental health issues, drug issues. We need to start looking at other issues and stop letting the left veer us emotionally into trying to infringe on the Second Amendment.
Okay. Well, I hope we can have you back with us again, and I appreciate the time today. Raul Reyes, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Raul Reyes for Congress.com. Look us up, okay?